All right, everybody, we're about to start this session. Let's welcome your MC, Vinny Folta. Put your hands together.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome again. So before our next session, I would like to give some love to our sponsors. So first of all is Interprefy. They provided the captioning and the translation, the audio. And if you want to, you can download the app. And if you want to use it on your phone. Do you need me to go back to the other side? Yep. You got it? Got the QR code? Yep. And also, without the okay. All right. Try any. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. NWES Solutions. Got it? You guys are really diligent because I offer it every session and nobody wanted to download except you guys. So thank you. All right. So then thank you to our sponsors, our AV production sponsors, Adams Service, Audio Engineers Northwest, and of course, our one and only engaging meeting, John Chen in the back of the room. Give him some love. And you can see there are a lot of sponsors, and because of them, we are having a really good time. Are you having a good time today with all the sessions? Yes? Let me hear it. All right. Good. And then with the partners, and if you notice, besides the top ones, we have culinary partners, and this is the part you want to take a look at. Sunset on the Salish Sea partners. The event today finishes at 3:45. They will start having shuttles from the convention center to the waterfront every 15 minutes. And then you can follow the itinerary, which is on your on the app. If you have the app, just log in, and then you can click all of the excursions. There's excursions on Thursday as well that you can pick. Some are free and some are reservation. So without them, guess what? We're less happy, right? So now we're so happy that we're ready for us to welcome our next speaker from chaos to clarity. Well, today we have listened to so many sessions about communication, especially if you had heard the last one, communication within teams, between you and your clients. And guess what? Our next speaker is going to take us through communication through the entire events ecosystem, which is really important because it's not a one stop or one point connection. It's the whole entire thing. Our next speaker is Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Foxy. What a name. Love it. And a communications strategist with over 2 decades of experience in business messaging and customer engagement. Yeah, we want that. His work focuses on helping event professionals like you guys move away from fragmented communication and toward more structured, seamless systems that improve both operations and guest experience across the full event lifecycle. Let's put your hands together for Hayln James.
Sorry, guys. Hey, guys. How we doing? Well, that was a much better intro than I could do for myself. So thank you for that. As I said, my name's Hayln James, and I've spent the better part of the last 2 decades in business messaging communications, working with businesses on helping them just create better processes. Okay, that's what we're here today. But before we get started, I have a question. How many planners do we have here today? Quite a few, right? How many of you guys think that communication is perfect through the entire event lifecycle? Okay, that's what we're here for. That's the whole point. So for me, we want to talk about clear communication and how it changes everything. Okay, it changes trust, it changes efficiency, It changes confidence in you guys in your business. And that's why I'm excited to be here with you guys today. Because planners, you guys operate in one of the highest pressure industries. And obviously, we have to know how we're going to be communicating with folks. So today, I want to talk to you guys about how we're going to streamline through the entire event process. Hey, guys, welcome. Obviously, beautiful events matter, right? But we want to talk about how things like your design, your atmosphere, and how we are actually working with folks through the entire process. See, language that people use when they recommend a planner is not going to be things like the linens were amazing, okay? They're going to say things like, they made it easy for me, okay? They were clear in providing me with all the information that we needed through the entire process. He kept us calm. What that is a communication compliment. And it's something you may not have thought of. You see, a referral won't be given to you just because you're a great planner. It's going to be given to you because you're a great communicator. I have to remember to click. Sorry, guys. People will remember how you communicated during stressful times, right? And they're going to remember that communication is not just operational, but it's part of your business, it's part of your reputation, and ultimately, it's going to become part of your brand. Guessing creates friction. Friction becomes stress. Okay? If people are guessing, your system is failing. All right, and I think that's a very important thing. So I'll say it again. If people are guessing, your system is failing. If a vendor is guessing where to load in, if a guest is guessing where to park, if a client is guessing what happens next, or if your team is guessing what happens next, that's going to create friction. And that friction is going to quickly become stress. Okay? It's unclear communication finally showing itself. So when planners and strong planners have something happen, they don't ask themselves who dropped the ball. They ask themselves, where did this system become unclear in the first place? Yeah, that mindset is going to change everything for you guys today, and it's something you could change right as you leave here today. So we're here to talk about communication across the entire event lifecycle. Communication does not begin on event day. Okay, that is not when we want to decide how we're going to be communicating with everyone. And communication doesn't end when the last guest leaves the building or your client sails off into the sunset. All right? Top planners understand that communication creates momentum at every stage. So for me, I want to talk about 6 key areas that I think communication is vital in the entire event process. It's going to be inquiry, planning process, vendor management, guest communications, event day communications, and that referral that we're hoping to get at the end. Oops, sorry. So first I want to talk about inquiry, right? We all want inquiries. We all want folks to arrive on our site, and we're happy if they do. But now becomes an important question. What happens when that inquiry comes in? How long did it take you to respond to that inquiry? Did it take 4 hours to get back to them? Right? And once you do get a hold of them and you start communicating, are you communicating the proper steps along the way? I ask that because how you communicate and when you communicate with individuals is going to create that trust long before they become your client. And then we're into the planning process. Now, this is where stress can rise and fall, obviously, right? How are we communicating updates, timeline adjustments? How are we communicating last-minute decisions? Clients need to feel guided every step of the way. And if they don't, that stress is going to rise very quickly. Vendor management. Aligned vendors perform better. Okay? And when execution improves, those vendors are going to refer. Okay, so communication with your vendors is key. Does everybody have good communication with all their vendors? I hope. Okay, if you just started, that's okay. All right, guest communication. Guests need simplicity, right? They don't want to search for answers. Guests don't want to download an app. They don't want to dig through their email looking for an address, right? They need everything to be handled to them easily. And on event day, which is probably one of the most vital times that we need to communicate, event day, clarity matters most when stress rises. How we communicate with our team, our vendors, our clients, our guests on event day is going to be extremely important for you guys. And it's something you guys should know long before you get there. So if we're going into events and we're planning and we don't know how we're going to communicate with folks on that day, it's something you should be figuring out, hopefully today. And referrals, we all want referrals, of course. Referrals are going to come from people who talk. How are they talking about you guys as planners, right? Usually they're going to be talking about how you communicated with them, right? How were items answered? How did we address the stressful moments? That's all communication. Because top planners understand that communication at every stage of the event lifecycle is vital. So today I want to talk about 3 key things that I think are probably the most common problems that we hear. And the first is scattered communication. Where does the information live? Is it in email, text message, DMs, a sheet of paper on your notes, or worse off, is it in your head? Okay. The reality is no tool is bad by itself because obviously we all use these tools on a daily basis, but the problem is disconnected tools. The problem is not having one source for everything. If communication lives everywhere, searching increases, updates get missed, delegation becomes harder, confidence in you guys and your team ultimately is going to drop. So I want to ask you guys a question, and hopefully you ask this to yourself. If you had to drop everything today and assign somebody to plan an event for you tomorrow, could they? How quickly could they find what they need? Could they communicate with everyone involved and take over where you had to step aside? That question is going to reveal your system's strength. Okay? And you may be thinking, I have a timeline. That's what they're for. If I had to hand my event off to somebody today, they absolutely probably could. And a timeline's great, but ultimately, it's not enough. What matters is how that timeline's going to change and how it's going to move over time, right? When things shift, who knows immediately? Who knows later? And who never knows? It's true. And if they did know, how do they find out? These are questions we have to ask ourselves that are way beyond the actual planning process. The second most common problem is repetitive communication. Now, I heard someone say they're new, but for anyone who isn't, how often do we answer the same questions on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Anyone? No one? No one? I hope. Every planner has repetitive questions that they're answering, right? Where do we park? Where do we load in? Can kids attend? When is payment due? Repeated questions aren't annoyances. They're feedback for you guys, right? It means information's buried. The process is unclear. Reminders are missing. And answers are too hard to access. And this next piece for me, I think, is a big one. So I hope you write it down. Every repeated question is a process trying to be born. That process might be templated replies, automated reminders via a single communication channel, frequently asked questions, welcome messaging, somebody arrives on your site, guest text messaging systems for easy communication. See, the goal isn't less service. The goal is better use of your time. You guys got into this business to plan because you enjoy what you do. So you shouldn't have to be stressing about clients. You and your team should be focused on making those days amazing. The third is folks are not structuring communication early enough. Okay? Most week of chaos did not begin the week of. It began way earlier through vague deadlines given to clients, no set update schedule, delayed decision making, missing ownership, and silence mistaken for progress. You see, sometimes early calm is deceptive. No one's asking me any questions. No issues have come up. Everything must be fine. But that doesn't mean that everything's fine. It just means that your system probably hasn't been tested yet. Strong planners are creating cadence for communication long before everything else. 90 days out, 60 days out, 30 days out, 7 days out. And they're creating series of communication throughout the entire planning process so that they are knowing things are running smoothly. Clients feel calmer when they know what happens next. Modern planners streamline communications with better systems. The planners who are modernizing communications in their business are going to ultimately win. Not to be trendy, but to reduce friction. Texting as an example, this is amazing for urgent communication. It's also great for RSVP management, meal selections, guest communication. We're going to simplify the process. Text is also great for live updates. On the day of an event, you want a single channel of communication for everyone involved. That means direct to vendors, direct to clients, direct to guests. They put in smart automation. You want to create smart automation in your business for repeated questions that we talked about earlier. So if a guest decides tonight they want to reach out to you at 11 p.m. and start asking you questions, you don't have to worry about it because you have a system in place that's going to answer those questions for you and they get the response that they need. That is leverage that most planners don't have today, and it's something you guys should think of. And you want to create one home for everything. One communication home keeps everything visible. It's going to track your history. And it's going to keep everything in a trusted place. So like I asked earlier, if someone had to step in and run your next event for you tomorrow, that answer would now be yes. They could just simply step in and take over. Because you streamlined communications with better systems. As you start to build that in, you want to create the right channel for the right message. Not everything should be done the same way. So if you're going to create a system, it's an opportunity to decide how are we going to put the proper message in the right channel. Like we said, text, great for urgency, delays, location changes, quick approvals. Email should be long messages, contracts, long explanations, referencing information. You're going to create a communications system in your business. Use that to help scale your business because it's going to be doing work for you on the back end. Make sure you have an FAQ section. Have systems for reminders for everyone involved. Create a system for shared visibility for not only you, your clients, but also your team. Strong planners do not communicate more, they communicate smarter. So my goal for you guys today is to create 3 wins this month. Obviously, you guys have a lot that you're learning as you go through here, but one of the most important things you could do is fix scattered communication that we talked about. Okay, reduce repetitive questions, and we're going to clarify it early in the planning process. So the challenge first is fixing scattered communication. Examples of this are going to be timeline changes, vendor updates, guest communication, client wins, client messaging, so we have client wins. If you could fix just one of those this month, it's going to really help you guys. We're going to reduce repetitive questions. Choose one question that you guys get asked time and time again and figure out how to simplify that. You could use an autoresponder, text messaging, FAQ section like we talked about. And if you don't know how, I'm happy to help. And you want to clarify early in the planning process. Choose one issue that normally comes up 30 days, or normally comes up day of or week of an event, and figure out how to fix that 30 days prior. Those small wins are going to compound very quickly. You'll feel more organized. Communication will immediately improve amongst you and your team, and your clients and your vendors. Excuse me, sorry. People will feel how you communicate. People are going to rarely compliment the systems that you guys have in place because they don't know. They just know how they're being treated, right? They'll compliment the systems based off how they feel. Clients are going to feel it as professionalism and peace of mind. Vendors feel it as you being reliable and easy to communicate with. Guests feel it as a sense of ease, and your teams are going to feel it as a sense of you being in control. Okay, events are an emotional experience, and how you communicate is going to be a big part of your success. The planners who win are not always the cheapest, they're not always the biggest, they're not always the loudest. Often, they are the clearest in communication. They reduce uncertainty, create calm amongst chaos. They make working feel easier. They streamline communications across the entire event lifecycle. That was quick, so I have time for questions. Anybody? Happy to help. Anything? Yeah.
I guess that was loud. I guess this is both for you and for anybody here. I'm kind of getting started as well, like someone said. And how do you set up those communication cycles and systems where like you feel like it's something that's manageable instead of just being something where like you always feel like you're like, oh, I have this one more email to send, this one more text message. How do you set those systems up so that they benefit you in the future?
Yeah, so you're going to start by creating a system where we house everything, right? So we're going to have one platform. In our case, Foxy. We work in platforms, and we offer Link My Events as a platform, and that becomes your home, your CRM, right? You get your dedicated business phone number. We're going to do all of our communications out of there. So if it was me, if I was starting today, I'd get my dedicated number, and I would start immediately sitting down with our team and figuring out what are the templated messages that I know we're going to be sending in day out. Okay, because there's multiple pieces there. There's vendor communication, there's client communication, and then there's guest communication. And if you're new, people are going to be coming at you, and you're going to be answering emails, answering text messages, picking up the phone, and there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So we're going to bring everything into a cute little funnel and figure out how to simplify that. Does that help? Anyone else? Yes, you in the back?
Mike?
Thank you for waiting for the mic. Thank you.
In today's day and age, everybody's talking about AI. How do you see AI fitting in with this whole communication process and it's not overused, but it's specific to the issue?
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about AI. When we talk about eliminating repetitive questions and simplifying that, we're going to work in AI. Okay, so you are going to feed a system those questions and those answers, and we're going to provide as much information to the platform about a particular event or about our business so that it can do the work for you. So like I said, if you're sleeping tonight and somebody reaches out and they're inquiring, our assistant can take over and have a conversation with an inquiry working on your behalf like a personal assistant before you ever wake up. Yeah, help. Okay. Anyone else? we can talk after, but yes. Anyone else? No? Okay. I will hang around for a couple minutes. If you guys have specific questions, like you're asking about triple C or anything else, happy to answer those. Otherwise, thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. What a wonderful presentation, because a lot of us starting out, or we have been in the business for a while. However, systems might have been already been in place, but are not as efficient, has not caught up with what the capabilities are right now. So with Foxy, they give you a turnkey, right? They have solutions for you from start to finish. And I would strongly encourage you, if you have some questions, even just inquiry, to talk to Hayln and his team over here. Thank you so much. Give this big
Thanks,
guy
guys.
a big hand.
Thank you.